have a big day. So it's a big day of NBA. We got Monday Night Football. So if we check out the odds for Monday Night Football, unsurprisingly, Lions pretty big favorites, but they got absolutely destroyed last week. We also have a lot of NBA. Great thing, NBA is back. A lot of players are questionable. So this is the reason, good bets are kind of always occurring, right? If Kyrie Irving, he's questionable for tonight. Same with LeBron. Like if LeBron doesn't play, all the lines have to move in the game. If LeBron's out, the money line has to move. Anthony Davis is probably going to take more shots. His player props have to move. Like everything has to move. And again, all these books set lines independently. Every book has different odds from one another. So whenever there's a player injured, like all the books have to adjust accordingly. And if they screw up, a lot of times there's good bets, line movement, just like the biggest stock price changes are oftentimes, after earnings reports. But anyways, without further ado, let's kind of go through some plays. So another cool thing for tonight, and I'll try to keep this live stream quick, is Underdog Fantasy, right? They usually, just like PrizePicks, Underdog Fantasy, the way this platform works, any two picks you select, you're getting a 3x payout. You can see that right here. So, 10 to win 30. But long story short, they're running a promo tonight. Promos are great. And you can see they have a promo on Cam Thomas, and also they got to play for the World Series. So what we want to do first is we want to figure out, Marcus, is he more likely to go over or under, right? Underdog, they're going to give us the same payout. So with this boosted payout, instead of getting 3x, we're going to get 4x. They usually give you 10 to win 30. Now it's 10 to win 40. But basically, they're going to give us the same payout if we take this guy's over or his under. So what we want to figure out is like, okay, is he more likely to go over or is he more likely to go under? So what we can do is we can just kind of pull up his lines. So what we can do is we can take a look at, where do books have his line set? So if you look at all the sports books, Caesars, Flip, Pinnacle, Penny, which is known to be the sharpest bookmaker, we got some bets for the World Series. But anyways, let's go here. Let's go to the World Series. As you can see, all the sports books have been favored to go under. So I'm not a big baseball guy, but, the data never lies. So where is player total bases? So if we go here, you can see, like, he's favored to go under, right? Like, all the books have his under favored. So if Underdog Fantasy, his under's favored right here. So if if Underdog Fantasy is going to give us the same payout if we take his over or his under for this promo, we want to take his under. And it may seem unintuitive, like taking a player's under when they're running a promo on him. But if that's where the value is, whatever, that's what I'm going to go with. So what we need to find, though, is, again, what's kind of annoying about Underdog is you can't just play the promo, right? On Underdog, you can see right here, it says you need at least 2 picks. Make 2+ picks. You can only play 2+ picks. And there's some pretty good plays. This promo is only a max bet size of $10. So I'm not going to take the top play in case I want to use it in another promo. But what we can go with is DeAndre Hunter under 1.5 made threes. You look at all the books, right? Every sports book, they all have his under pretty heavily favored around like minus 140. So this seems like a good play to go with. And again, everything is baked into the market. When you look at sportsbook odds, like lineups, injuries, who's pitching, he's facing Brandon, whatever, like all that crap is baked into the market, which is why you want to ruthlessly look at sportsbook odds when you're finding your plays on Underdog. So we found the first pick we want to go with, but there's another play on Cam Thomas. So they got another promo. And again, these promos are the easiest money we're going to make sports betting. So what I want to do is I want to go to player points. And we want to do the same thing. And it's not glamorous, but this is how you get an edge on the books. So if we look up Cam Thomas, you can see in this case, we want to take Cam Thomas's over, right? So Underdog has his line at 23.5. Sportsbooks have his line at 24.5. Jock Market, another fantasy site, at 24. PrizePicks doesn't even have a lineup. But all the books, they either have his line higher at 24.5, like FanDuel has his line higher at 24.5, or the books who have his line set at 23.5, the same level as Underdog, they have his over favored. Pinnacle, Penny, Sharpest Bookmaker, they have his over as a favorite, as a minus 125 favorite. Fliff has the over favored. So in this case, we want to take Cam Thomas's over, and then we just need to find a play to pair with it. So let's go here. And again, like, the benefit of having multiple books, as you can see, like, PrizePicks bumping all my shit. I'm trying to bet, but there's a promo on Jimmy Butler as well. So what we can do is we can go here and we can be like, okay, like, you know, whatever. Kyle Kuzma under 2.5 assists. Al Horford under 6.5 points. I'm good with that. So you can kind of pick, like, you know, you just want to find some plays with value. Obviously, if you don't like Horford going under, you don't have to take it. But this is what I'm going to go with. And again, we're getting 40 as opposed to 30 for this promo. And I'm sure as all this injury news starts to come out, that's going to lead to a ton of line movement, a ton of good bets, right? Like, you know, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Draymond Green. Man, the whole Clippers team is already injured. You know, Kyrie Irving. If Kyrie Irving doesn't play, you know, Derek Lively, players like that, you'll probably see their point total move higher. And there may be some good plays where you can catch sportsbooks sleeping at the wheel. But anyways, there are some other good bets on Underdog. So what we can do is we can just kind of take a look at Underdog Fantasy. Oh, baby. So we got some line movement, right? So Anthony Davis. So the basic strategy for beating Underdog Fantasy, and again, like, in these live streams, I'm always just showing you what I'm putting my own money on. If there's any picks you don't like, feel free to skip them over. But anyways, the first play OddsJam is recommending is Anthony Davis under 2.5 assists. So again, like, the general strategy for beating PrizePicks, beating Underdog Fantasy, you know, and I kind of bounce around from book to book. Sometimes PrizePicks has good promos. Sometimes it's Underdog Fantasy. Is, you know, they have fixed payouts, right? They don't change your freaking payout based on you selecting ADs over or under, right? They give you the same payout regardless. So what you want to do is ruthlessly compare the lines to other sportsbooks. So if we go back here, Anthony Davis, Caesar Sportsbook, $10 billion company. You're not going to create a better model than Caesar's, right? But even if you don't use Caesar Sportsbook, because it may not be available in your location, they have his under heavily favored. So we're treating all these books as data points. All these books have AD heavily favored to go under. So I typically just search for minus 122. We already have this play on DeAndre Hunter, so I'm not going to be able to play it again. But you can see a ton of bets are showing up for tonight on Underdog Fantasy, but most of them are lower profit margin, but still. So the next play OddsJam's recommending, this is also in the Lakers game. So if we go to points plus rebounds, let's take a look at this. So obviously, like, the better the plays you can find, you know, that's better. So here there's just some interesting line discrepancies. It's kind of confusing, but like, you look at Prince, FanDuel has his line at 12.5, right? 12.5 points plus rebounds. Underdog Fantasy has him at 14.5, right? 14.5 points plus rebounds. So what you could do is you could middle bet this. There's this big discrepancy in the market. Maybe it's on the LeBron injury news, right? Like, LeBron possibly out. Seems like sportsbooks are a little confused. You know, well, now he's probable for Monday, but this is the type of stuff that leads to line discrepancies between books. FanDuel has the line at 12.5. Underdog has the line at 14.5. So what you could do is you could middle bet this. Hit the over 12.5 on FanDuel. Hit the under 14.5 on Underdog. If he has 13 or 14 points plus rebounds, you'll win both plays. You'll win the over 12.5. You'll win the under 14.5. It's kind of like if you could buy a stock at $12.50 and then flip it on E-Trade, buy a stock at $12.50 on Fidelity, sell it at $14.50 on E-Trade. But of course, like, the stock market's too efficient. That's not going to happen. It's only in sports betting where all these books try to set lines independently, where you get these huge discrepancies. So anyways, clearly some line discrepancies in the Lakers game. So let's make a play. Why not? We'll make a play. So the next play OddsJam's recommending is Andrew Wiggins over 3.5 rebounds. I think Draymond's questionable tonight. There's a lot of, you know, you can see line movement, like possibly on Draymond being questionable. all the books have ripped odds towards Andrew Wiggins over 3.5 rebounds. So it's like, okay, the over is heavily favored. That's the sharp pick we want to be on Underdog. You take his over, you take his under, you get the same payout regardless. So because all the books are telling you, hey, his over is heavily favored, a -140, -145 favorite to go over, that's the good pick we want to be on. So then we got Denny under, Travis over. So I try to move quickly. Again, the best betting opportunities, they're not going to last forever. So the quicker you can move, the better. Here, he's heavily favored to go under. Travis, heavily favored to go over in points, right? Pinnacle, sharpest bookmaker, has him as a -155, -151 favorite to go over. So we can go here and we can take him over in points. So again, a lot of people, they like to look at, if we go to PrizePicks, a lot of people like to look at this historical charts, but you got to remember, every game is different and everything is baked into the market. People like to look at these historical player props, whatever. But again, everything is baked into the market. So that's why it's really useful to follow, sportsbook odds. But anyways, so what we could do is we could just play this as a little 3-pick entry, right? Here we have 3 NBA picks for today, and we can lock it in. Underdog has pretty good payouts, 100 to win 600. They give you a 6x payout for these 3-pick entries. So here's what we can go with. And PrizePicks, they only give you, a 5x payout. So it does kind of matter. And we have some videos about it on the Odds Jam YouTube, how many picks you go with. On PrizePicks, you'll see I'm largely playing 5-pick entries. On Underdog, a lot of 3-pick entries or 5 picks with insurance. But long story short, you get the point. Unless it's a promo. If it's a promo, these 2-pick boosted entries with a 4x payout is pretty good. So let's look for some PrizePicks plays. I mean, there's a lot of plays available right now. One strategy I like as well is arbitrage betting. So this isn't something, that's particularly exciting or we have to spend a long time on the live stream, but arbitrage is a way to make risk-free money off the books. And I know that sounds a little too good to be true, but essentially, because all these books, set lines independently. So what we can do is we can just go through an example of this really quickly. This is how I started out sports betting, how I made my first $40,000 sports betting. So it's a useful strategy, So I just kind of bounce around from tool to tool. I'll check out the arbitrage tool. Sometimes there's good bets. This play is still available. You can see it right here on the arbitrage tool. It's still available between FanDuel and Flip. So essentially, all these sports books set their own odds, right? So sometimes they get so out of sync. They have such different odds from one another that you can bet the over on one book, in this case FanDuel, the under on another book, in this case Flip, and make a risk-free profit. There's a huge difference in Anthony Edwards player-made threes, +120 on Flip, +190 on FanDuel. So you can see I bet this. Flip has a max bet size of 250. So if I just go here, you can see I have it on right here. And again, I use a lot of profitable betting strategies, middle betting, arbitrage. Arbitrage is just making risk-free profits. So Flip has a max bet size of 250. So you put that into an arbitrage calculator right here. It tells you, hey, if you hedge and bet 135.47 on FanDuel, you'll make a risk-free profit of 739. And again, we're day trading the books, inefficiencies in the market. So I rounded FanDuel to 135.50, 135.47, kind of random number. And then you can just kind of go through the math. If he goes over on FanDuel, we bet 135.50. That's what I bet at +190 odds. So my profit is 135.50 times 1.9, 137 bucks. Or sorry, 135.50 times 1.9, 257. And then on Flip, I lose 250, right? I bet his under for 250. But I still come out ahead. That's arbitrage betting. You're betting equal and opposite outcomes to guarantee yourself a profit. Now, if he goes under, I lose my bet on FanDuel. I lose 135.50. But on Flip, I go up 250 times 100 over 175. I bet 250 at -175 odds. So my profit is 142.85. Regardless of what happens, we make a risk-free $7. That's arbitrage betting. It's, great. It's a great strategy to kind of use. Sometimes there's a lot more arbitrage bets than others. So that's why you can see this play still available. There's an arbitrage bet on Kobe White. So you can just kind of like hit this arbitrage bet, hit this, make $8 here, make $8 there. You're on your way to, pretty good profits with no risk. Regardless of what happens, you're going to make money. So anyways, we can go back. Oh, baby. So we can look through ParlayPlay quickly. Again, the more books you have, the better. More books, more profitable bets. Never know which books are going to have good promos on a given day. Underdog has some promos. PrizePicks has some promos. So the more books you have, if you want to take it seriously and make money, the better. But anyways, let's take a look at some of these plays. So let's go to player tackles plus assists. This is an NFL play, and we have Morrig under 5. That's what OddsJam's recommending. So let's just what's going on with this guy? Let's take a look at him. So you can see Underdog has the line at 4.5. All the other sports books have the line at, 4.5 in general. There's kind of some books have his over slightly favored. Some books have his under favored. So there's, Sports Interaction, a Canadian book. I don't use Sports Interaction. It's a Canadian sports book. But again, more data points, the better. All these books, have his line lower at 4.5. So it's okay, that seems like a good play to go with. So we can go back here and we can lock him in. Under 5 tackles plus assists. So this will be the first play we go with. And let's see what else OddsJam is recommending. And again, the same strategy applies to any of these fixed payout platforms like Underdog, PrizePicks, whatever, is, Jokic. All the books have his under heavily favored. Tyus Jones, there's a bunch of plays. LaMelo Ball, all the sports books. Again, sports books are constantly moving around their lines based on lineup changes, injuries, sharp action, all this crap. It's baked into the market. All the books have LaMelo heavily favored, to go under 8.5 assists. So Pinnacle, sharpest bookmaker out there. Here's a line movement chart. They have his under at -148. So we know his under's favored. We know his under's the more likely outcome. I just got to plug in my computer. So it's okay, this play we can go with. So there's a good play on ParlayPlay. Jaren Jackson, under 7.5 rebounds. All the books have his under favored. Pinnacle, sharpest bookmaker out there, has his under all the way down at -157. So it's okay, I don't really care what sport I'm betting on. If there's value in the NBA, I'll bet on the NBA. Now, again, on Underdog, we just played a 3-pick entry, but we were getting a 6x payout. This ParlayPlay platform, they only give you a 5x payout. So it's okay, we're not going to play, that. So what we can do is we can refresh this, and the optimal slip type on ParlayPlay is 6-pick entries. That's just kind of, the optimal slip type. So what else is OddsJam recommending? Ayton, over 24.5 PRAs. All the books have his line at 25.5. So we can just kind of pull up this betting tool, which is called the OddsJam Sportsbook screen, and just take a look at the market, right? All the books, every single one, all the other fantasy sites like PrizePicks, which works the same way as ParlayPlay, they all have his line at 25.5. Underdog, all these books have his line at 25.5. ParlayPlay, they're just chilling at 24.5. Shit, they moved it up. So you can see they already bumped him up, Ayton PRAs. They already bumped him up to 25.5. So again, some of these lines are going to move, which sucks. So ideally, we move as quickly as possible to get these in. LaMelo Ball, we're already on that. So you can see there's some different options. Azor Thompson, over in steals. All the books have his over heavily favored. So again, when you follow the data, you're never going to lose. You'll always win long term. So I just kind of see what's out there. Sometimes there's more bets than others. Try to find some good plays to go with every single night. So here we have Brandon Ingram, and it's great with NBA back. The number of bets you're placing kind of depends on how many games there are in a given day. But you look at, Ingram, all the books have his line at 36.5, right? ParlayPlay, damn, they just adjusted him to 36.5 as well. So it's like they're watching this live stream, was trying to bet the under 37.5. So that's annoying. What about Dame? Did they already adjust Dame under 33.5 points plus rebounds? Let's take a look at Dame. Nope, they still have this play available, so we can look at Dame. And we wanted Thompson over in steals, so let's take a look at this. So this is definitely an NBA-heavy slip. Obviously, Dame had a rough last game. Dame Dalla. But you can see all the books, PrizePicks, whatever, they have his line at 32.5. So it's kind of like if you were a day trader and you saw Facebook stock was trading in the market at 302.66 and you could buy it at 290, a discount, right? Stock prices, the market is based on supply and demand of every investor. So like the market as the consensus where supply and demand meet is pretty smart. Like every day, millions of people wake up, investors, their full-time job is thinking about if Facebook is overvalued or undervalued. So the fact that it's trading at, 302.66, like if you could buy Facebook at 290, that'd be a no-brainer. So you look at Damian Lillard, the entire market has him at, 32.5. PrizePicks, all these books, FanDuel, Caesars. So getting under 33.5, getting that edge, right, that value, that's how we beat the books long term. So now we have 5 picks, but again, the optimal slip type is the 6-pick entries. So what we can do is we can take Bridges under in PRAs, under 33.5. All the books have his line at 32.5. So here we go. We have a nice little 6-pick entry. What are you doing? This is bullshit. 12x payout? This makes no sense. I was getting a 20x payout, but if I include Bridges, which is a 6th pick, they reduced my payout to 12x, which makes no sense because I could just not take that pick and get a 20x payout. So they're really starting to mess with the correlation, which is crazy. But whatever, like obviously we don't want to do that. So if the books try to add a payout shift, I mean, I guess that's something to just be cognizant of. So you can see Tyus Jones, all the books have his under heavily favored, and it looks like lines have been ripping towards his under across sports books. He's probably expected to play less minutes. Maybe a player who was questionable is now not questionable. Sometimes it's stuff like that that leads to these line movements. But regardless, like clear value, and we can go ahead and we can lock it in. So no other plays in the slip. So we're not going to get a correlation bump. And again, what sucks about these platforms is, only a max of $60, but whatever, that's kind of what it is. We'll lock it in. And then what we can do, any more arbitrage plays, you can see this Anthony Edwards one was just bumped down a bit to plus 188. This play on Kobe White, could arbitrage bet it. Fliff has a max bet size of 250. Hedge on FanDuel, 218.93. Maybe round up to 220. Make a risk-free profit of $8. Easiest money you'll ever make in your life. Takes you 20 seconds to place these arbitrage bets. Although I just played the play on Fliff because it's clear, like we could arbitrage bet this with FanDuel and make a risk-free profit, or Bovada or Pinnacle. But it's pretty clear, like Fliff is the one screwing up here. So I just took his under, like it's clear all these books have the line at like minus 150. We're getting minus 110. That's a no-brainer. But, so anyways, what would be great is to get some more underdog plays. I mean, ParlayPlay has some more value, but whatever. Whoa. So let's go back here. Let's take a look, and then maybe we'll find some PrizePicks plays for this promo. So if we go here, DeAndre Hunter, yeah. Andrew Wiggins over in points. I mean, this play looks solid too. So again, like OddsJam doesn't do anything complicated. None of the optimizers do or anything. Just kind of scan the market, point out value, point out discrepancies. Like Kyrie Irving, all the books have his line at 30.5 points plus rebounds. Underdogs at 31.5. Maybe, hopefully, there's some plays on PrizePicks. Let's check. So there are, but not really. Like there's some value, player field goals, Jimmy Butler points, but meh. So what we could do is we could build a slip. So we had Wiggins over in rebounds. So if we take a look at Wiggins, again, I think Draymond's questionable. We already have this play on Underdog. But what we can do is the third pick we can go with is, Devontae Adams under 5.5, 6.5 receptions. So let's check out what's the deal with Devontae. So PrizePicks has his line at 6.5. The other fantasy sites have his line at 6. In general, sportsbooks have his line at 5.5 with the over favored. So again, like all these books are taking slightly different bets. They have slightly different models from one another. Casumo, Canadian sportsbook, I don't use it personally, but all these books, again, they're just kind of a data point. All these books are taking bets, moving around lines based on where action's coming in. So you just want to process all this information. Caesar Sportsbook, they have a really good model, really good data feeds, $10 billion company. You want to use all these books kind of as a source of information when you're placing your bets. Knowing that PrizePicks' direct competitor, Underdog Fantasy, they have Devontae Adams, they have his line lower at 6. All these things are data points, indications that, hey, maybe there's good value on the under 6.5. But anyways, maybe we hold off. I mean, I would like to find a better play, than kind of what's currently available, or at least higher profit margin. The Jimmy Butler promo is obviously good. I don't want to miss out on getting a play for it, but hopefully we can find something better. So again, I recommend checking the arbitrage tool, sign up for FanDuel, DraftKings, Fliff, Caesars, take advantage of all the risk-free money opportunities. This is the easy, $8 risk-free here, another $8 risk-free here. You're $16 richer by the end of today. By 7 p.m., you have your money back. One bet wins, one bet loses. You make fucking money no matter what. I don't know what's better than that. Malik Beasley. Oh, baby. We got the Hornets. Lines moving in the Hornets game. Again, Kyrie Irving, who was questionable in the Hornets game? I don't remember. But regardless, as, players come out as questionable, if they're playing, if they're not playing, that's going to lead to line movement. And again, all these sports books set lines independently. All these books have different odds. So sometimes you'll catch books sleeping, right? Sometimes you'll catch books if LeBron ends up not playing, there may be a great betting opportunity to hammer, the Lakers that comes up. Cade Cunningham over 6.5 assists. This play looks good on Fliff. No other book offering better than -140. Pinnacle, sharpest bookmaker out there. They've ripped his line all the way to a -158 favorite. So maybe it's okay, this seems like a good play to go with. So we can go here. And let's take our boy Cade over 6.5 assists. Try to move quickly. Again, Fliff has a max bet size of 250. You want to use Fliff Cash, this green thing. Fliff Coins is fake money, right? This is fake money. 1 million coins. So you want to use Fliff Cash. But anyways, let's go back here. And let's see. Any other plays? So we already have this play on Kobe White. I already arbitrage bet this. This play you could arbitrage bet. This play on Drew, I'm already on. Hornets. Again, I try to focus on the main books that are kind of available everywhere in these live streams. But Kyle Kuzma under 2.5 assists, yada, yada. Let's reload Underdog. So Underdog, there's 4 plays in green. The board's pretty dry. I never like to force bets. There are thousands of lines. With the NBA back, there's a lot of line movement. You never know when the best bets are going to occur, when players come out as injured, right? If Patrick Mahomes is announced as injured tonight at 11 p.m., there's going to be huge line movements, really good bets at 11 p.m. You never know, right? It's just like if it's announced, Mark Zuckerberg has fraud at Facebook, the price is going to drop like a rocket. It's based on when news is announced, when players get injured, lineups change. So you can see Underdog has, tens of thousands of lines available right now. There's only 4 good bets, 4 good plays, 4 plays in green. So whatever, not enough value, maybe to justify placing another bet. So we already got a lot of the good plays on ParlayPlay. Although it looks like there's some more, but I mean, whatever. We'll call it a day for now. Obviously not the most popular platform, but it is a good platform worth signing up for. I mean, they have an $100 deposit match. You put in 100, you get 100 for free. All these books have pretty lucrative promos, sign-up promos. So in my opinion, worth at least having them. PrizePicks, the board's a little dry right now. I mean, there's some esports value, but this game isn't until Saturday. So I don't, love the idea of placing a bet for Saturday. So I'll have to continue to check out PrizePicks. But again, all these books, you can get the better. ParlayPlay, had a lot of close calls, which kind of sucks. But, here, whatever, I'm, 5 for 6 or 4 for 5. So a lot of close calls, but still, up a good amount of profit on this book, and they only have $60 max bet sizes. So is there anything on PrizePicks that's going to pop up? Come on. Anything new? Not really. So I'll call it a day for now. Hopefully this live's, here we have a play for tonight though. Underdog just showed up. St. Brown, under 7.5 receptions. All the books have his under heavily favored. What's going on here? So what I can do is pull up the sportsbook screen, and we can take a look at Brown and see what's going on. It's so weird. All these books ripped, like PrizePicks, Fliff, Jock Market. A lot of these books don't even have lines up, but you can see in general, all these books have St. Brown heavily favored to go under, like a -150 favorite. So it's kind of like, okay, and Davante Adams over 5.5 receptions. So again, it may be confusing, but there's a difference between 5.5 and 6.5. Underdog has this line at 5.5. PrizePicks is at 6.5. So it looks like there's pretty good value on Davante Adams over. You can take a look at, the line movement chart. It looks like his odds, he's always been pretty heavily favored to go over 5.5 receptions. So I feel like this play is going to move quickly, so I'm going to move quickly. We want Davante Adams over 5.5 receptions. All the books have his over heavily favored. So it's like, okay, we want to take this play for sure. And then what else do we have? What else do you have for me? Positive EV tool. St. Brown under, Pasternak over. So Brown under. And then we want him over. So again, the same concept applies to betting on any sport. Underdog Fantasy, really good payouts for these 3-pick entries. And again, it's pretty simple. If you go through the math behind Underdog, what you'll see is to make money on Underdog Fantasy, to be profitable long-term, all you have to do, and I'm not saying this as, it's so easy, but all you got to be able to do is win these over-unders above 55% of the time. So I have some videos on YouTube breaking down the math behind Underdog. But I'm not saying that's easy to do, right? You got to be able to get your picks like Jimmy G over under 253.5. You got to be able to get those correctly above 55% of the time. So you have to win at least 55% of your picks, only losing 45. So you win over 55% of your picks, only losing 45, you're going to be profitable on Underdog. But obviously that's not easy to do. Underdog knows most people aren't sophisticated bettors, and they're only going to win about 50%. They're going to hit 50% of their over-unders like Jimmy G over under 253.5, and they're going to lose 50%. They're going to win 50%, lose 50%. So, they're going to lose money long-term because on Underdog, when you break down the math behind this platform, you have to win at least 55% of your picks to be profitable. So the reason this play on Davante Adams is a profitable play on Underdog is, every sports book, FanDuel has him almost a -200 favorite, 2-to-1 favorite, -200, 2-to-1 favorite, 2/3 to go over. -200 favorite means 2/3 to win. is all the books have him super heavily favored to go over. Caesars is all the way up at minus 189 and ripping odds towards his over. So it's pretty clear, like, okay, like, you look at all these books have invested millions of dollars in their ability to set lines and move lines based on where sharp action's coming in. All the books have him heavily favored to go over. So that's a pick winning above 55% of the time. That's profitable in an underdog fantasy entry, So 3 picks. But anyways, hopefully this was helpful. Call it a day for now. We'll drop some more plays on Twitter in a bit. Thanks so much for your time.